Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Hard 100, a video series documenting the culling of my collection from what it is to what it's going to be, and that is a Hard 100 games. Recently, I started a new thing called unboxings. I don't know if you've ever heard of them. They're on the internet. Maybe if you can find them, they're every goddamn where. And I decided I wanted to start some too, and the very first one I did was for a game that caught my eye a long time ago, 2-3 months-ish ago, and I really like the idea of the animals and just this kind of weird Miami worker placement-y, counterfeit-y thing. It looks really neat. So I went ahead and picked it up on the cheap. Finally got a chance to get it to the table. I say finally, even though I got it to the table sooner than I got most of this shit to the table. It's a game that combines worker placement and engine building, kind of. I don't know. Get your $3 bills ready, y'all, because you're freaking me out to wear a mask called Counterfeiters. Counterfeiters by Pecunia Olet, but game designed by Oliver Bourgeois and Ian O'Toole, because, of course, is a game in which you and a handful of players go and try to launder money and turn little fake money into real money. Come here for a second. Let me get you close. This game right here, it's a worker placement game. I like worker placement games. You put your dude down on the thing and you do that thing. Easy peasy, George and Wheezy. It also has a little bit of engine building. So that means if I put a card down, I can do this later and I just kind of get a little thing going. But there are different types of engines. If Mario Kart has taught me anything, there are exactly 3 types of engines. There are 50cc engines, there are 100cc engines, and whatever the higher cc engine is. This one is the 50cc engine builder game, which means the engine is nothing. The worker placement is, let's talk about what you can do on your turn. On your turn, you have a board to look at. Very easy. On this board are a whole bunch of different spaces. Whomp. And on these spaces there are a couple of different things you can do. If you look at the top of the board, there's a series of cards that are dealt out, and these are different cards that will give you abilities to make your counterfeit money more counterfeitable, as well as printers and a private jet for you to go private jetting all over the world. Really just one place. Or you can go to the supermarket and try to swap out some of those fake bills for real money. Or you can go to some other place to actually sell counterfeit bills for money. It's weird, you can do up to 8. Or you can go to a place and just get 30 bucks. Oh, and that'll also give you the first player token, which is super cool. Or you can go fly to the Bahamas or the Caribbean or somewhere to deposit money into your offshore bank account so Mr. Godfather cannot touch it. Or you can go to your counterfeit agency and actually print off some bills. You can print off 2 bills per printer you have, and depending on the quality of those bills will depend on how many of the secret ingredients that you have, be it inks or holograms or paper. Why do I care about the quality of my counterfeit? Because at the supermarket, it doesn't really matter, except some of these actions is going to require you to move a little police meeple down the track, and whenever it reaches the end of the track, the game is over. Now, that policeman will trigger certain events to happen, so at certain points you'll have to give half your money to the Godfather, or you may not be able to fly, but specifically with the supermarket space, it trains the supermarket how to keep an eye out for these shitty bills you're giving them, and then if you bring a 1-star counterfeit, they'll be like, no, you're freaking me out, this ain't it. And they give it away. And later in the game you can only trade in 2s and then 3s, and then by the last turn of the game you can't use the supermarket space anymore, so it's a use it or lose it. That's really the main reason. And of course you can sell those bills, you can trade them in for a cheaper amount if you want to do that. It's fine. Yeah, it's everything. Wow. And those are all the spaces. It doesn't seem like a lot because it's not a lot. The board is beautiful. The board is wonderful. On one side is a 2-player board and on the other side is the 3- and 4-player board. And depending on how many players you have will depend not only on what side of the board you use, but also where you put that little police meeple. And I'm not sure what it is. I think it might be a bear. Nowhere in the rulebook is there a picture or a description of what that cop is. Just a little blue meeple doohickey. The components in the game are wonderful. They're super chunky. If you watch the unboxing video, if you don't, give me that view, y'all. But if you did, you'll know that there are little birds and elks and walrus manatees and then a little crocodile pimp lady. And there's also a nice little wooden police meeple and little sunglasses, and the cards are thick and kind of rubbery, but they're fine. And the money, as you may have seen, is paper money, but it's really clever paper money. The real money is like this plastic feeling nice money. And the shitty counterfeit bills is this real thin paper. And as the counterfeit gets better, the quality of the paper feels to get better, and the difference between the counterfeit money paper feel and the real paper money is really awesome. So you can really feel the difference. It's a nice little touch. And also, whenever you do fly to the Bahamas, you put your money that you want to keep into a little envelope, and the Godfather can't touch that. And by the time the little cop gets to the end, you do the Godfather action one more time, which you give him half of your bank, not including your other stuff, and most money wins. Most real money wins. There's no tiebreaker. If it says a tiebreaker, it says you have to play again, but we'll get to that in a moment. Now, Counterfeiters is a game which is just a simple worker placement game. The engine building, as I mentioned, is 50cc. The reason why is because depending on the type of ingredients you have will depend on the money that you can fake. Every one of them has a star, and it's kind of like building a Triforce, and if you have all three of them, you can build level 3s. But you want to get printers. Now here's a problem with it, is that if I have a set of everything that I need, a paper, ink, and hologram, I can have every single printer print out 2 bills per thing. I only have to have one set of these cards, but just a ton of printers to print them off. I don't have to have a set per printer, which I think might have been what it is, so there's no reason for me to get multiple ingredients. It was kind of weird. But there is also a lottery ticket that you can get. We'll just give you money at the end of the game, and the Godfather can't take that. And that's actually how I won the game, by using that 50 lottery ticket thing to win. And there's also diners. So this is kind of the 50cc engine where I put it in front of me, and at the end of every round, I can use my diner to turn a fake bill into a real 50. So it's a really neat way to kind of quickly get money. And if you see that your opponent's really getting a lot of money and they're not banking any of it, you can go to spaces to try to push the cop forward to the Godfather space to try to get them to spend that money. Let's do housekeeping. 2 to 4 players. I played it with 2. The 3 and 4 player side not only introduces more cards, but it also gives you way more spaces. I didn't really feel like in a 2-player game that I was blocked from doing anything. I just felt like there was always something for me to do, and it didn't really feel like I was fighting against someone. Ages 13 and up, okay, you are counterfeiting, you are kind of breaking the law, but it's little animals. They can break laws. Do they have laws? Animal law, animal code, Animal Planet. And then 35 minutes. It's pretty short. It takes hardly any time at all to set up. Once you know how to set it up, you just have to remove some cards for the lower player counts. Very easy peasy. Counterfeiters. The worker placement aspect of it is fine. Once you start the game with a certain amount of money depending on what turn you go in. And you also begin with a printer and one of the Triforces. At that point, you are thinking, okay, well, I need to get another one. Okay, I need to get more money. There's a space that'll give me money. Okay, I don't have any counterfeit, so I'm gonna have to get some things to get more counterfeiting abilities, and kind of goes from there. The first few turns of the game were very, very fun. This is what I will classify as the law of diminishing returns. The more we played this, and the more I played this specifically, the less fun I began to have. At the beginning, I was like, oh, I see what I need to do. This is pretty cool, this is pretty cool. And then at the very, very end, I was like, oh, well, I need the game to end now. Because you can kind of prolong the game as much as you want, because you don't have to put your little duder on the police space. So I can kind of avoid it. But towards the end of the game, I was like, where's those police spaces? Let's wrap this up. This 35 minutes has been a little long, even for a learning game. It was just, Counterfeiters is okay. It is a game where the worker placement is fine. The engine building, like I mentioned, 50cc, it's like it's nothing. It's your first place every time. You take an occasional blue shell, and that's it. You guys enjoying these Mario Kart references? I don't have a lot to say about Counterfeiters. It is a very light worker placement game, an extra light engine builder, just not a lot of meat on the bone. After I was done playing it, I packed it up and go, whoop, never doing that again. So Counterfeiters, you are out of my hard 100. Your components are lovely. This box, this little counterfeit book thing that looks super cool. Components, A+, wonderful. The game itself, C-, maybe even a D. I feel like this is a watered down version of a big box game that doesn't exist. Olette and Bourgeois, give me a big Counterfeiters, like deluxe big, not deluxe edition of this game, but I would enjoy a game like this where I'm trading out money and trying to do something other than to turn fake money into real money. There's a good idea here. I just feel like it wasn't executed to the point where I would want to play it again. Tool, you're knocking it out of the park. Is there a game recently that you haven't done? I'm looking at fucking Escape Plan. You did that. That's awesome. I got a CO2 over here somewhere that you did. That's awesome. You're doing a lot of games. Take a break. No, you don't. Don't take a break. You're also doing On Mars, which looks great. So, Tool, wonderful. Counterfeiters, meh. Like I said, it feels like a counterfeit version of a real game that doesn't exist. goddamn am I clever. So ladies and gentlemen, this is not right for my shelf. It might be right for your shelf if you're into a very light worker placement game that is just kind of a set it and forget it Ron Popeil style. So once again, my name is Billy. Thank you so much for joining me on this, the latest edition of the Hard 100. I hope you and yours are well. Peace out.